Hey everybody, welcome back. So I did not want to start another vintage guitar project here until my 58 Les Paul was complete, but we ran into a couple unforeseen issues with the guitar, nothing major. I do think it'll be finished coming very soon here. So today I want to show you guys this really interesting 1950s Fender guitar. It's got some really strange modifications, but it does play and sound really good. So we're going to get into all of that today. To start, it came in a mid-60s no logo Fender case, not original to the guitar. And inside, we've got whatever this is. So at first glance, you'll see it has a Stratocaster neck. This is the main reason I bought the guitar, and I think this is what really makes it interesting. But more on that in just a bit. The body looks like a almost one-piece vintage Fender ash body. It does have a black pick guard, which might lead it to be a early Tele, which would be a big score, but I don't think that's what it is. Some of the weird modifications, though, as you can see, it has a hardtail Stratocaster bridge. Now, at first I didn't quite understand why you might do this, but maybe you would do this to intonate each string. However, they made some other modifications to the body in doing that, so we'll look at that in just a sec. The bridge pickup is mounted in some kind of pick guard here, which is kind of interesting because it's no longer in the Tele metal bridge plate. As far as I know, the electronics are original to the guitar, and that's about all we've got here on the front of it. On the back, it does have a 63,000 neck plate, which puts it around late 60, early 61. Maybe that's what we're dealing with here in terms of the body on this guitar. But now you can see what I'm talking about with the string through area. I don't know, I would think that the strings would go through the same way as with the standard Tele bridge, but for whatever reason, they've plugged a hole here. I don't know what exactly happened. And I want to take this guitar apart, make another video, and we can try to authenticate all the parts, figure out what's going on with this guitar. So we'll check that out and see what the deal is. But a really nice piece of ash. As you can see here, it's super lightweight and only weighs about 6 pounds, the complete guitar. And you can see on the back here, there's a dowel hole right here at the bottom, and then also here in the center, and that's a telltale sign. This is an original Fender Tele body, so we're definitely dealing with the real deal here. Another issue is they've totally botched the output jack area and moved that to here. So there's just kind of a lot of really amateur repair jobs on this guitar, but they can certainly be fixed, and I think it's worth doing with something like this. I will mention these are patent pending Fender saddles on this bridge, so this is 50s or 60s, although some of these saddles are re-chromed. And the body is refinished in a really early lacquer, and it looks really cool. So anyways, moving on to the neck, the main reason I bought this guitar, because I looked at it and I immediately knew what this was, and I'll kind of walk you guys through exactly what I was looking at here. But I believe this to be a pretty early Stratocaster neck. And what I immediately saw was, first of all, the dot spacing, the shape of the dots, the shape of the headstock, the way that it's cut, especially right here at the nut area. Although it does have some horrible decal that I've never seen before. It says Stratocaster England on it. But there's a couple of really good signs with this neck. So on the string tree, there is no spacer underneath, which I think came into play around 57 or so. So if that's original, it puts the guitar 57 or earlier. Has single line Clouson tuners, so I think we're in the same time frame there. That makes it a pretty early Stratocaster neck, because the Stratocaster came out in mid 54, so this could be more than likely around a 56 Stratocaster neck. And I did have some really grainy pictures when I bought this thing. There was a picture of the neck butt, which is where the date would be, and I couldn't make out the date, but there is definitely handwriting there, and there was actually a signature that could make this neck much more valuable and interesting in terms of the history of it. So whenever we take it apart later this week, we're going to check that out and verify that. So before we get to playing it, a couple more issues actually with this neck. The truss rod is sticking out, and this is the way that I bought it. And that is pretty concerning because it could be frozen, it could be broken, and that is really an expensive and invasive repair if you have something wrong with the truss rod. Also up here, when you're looking at the walnut plug here, you'll see that you can see the top of the plug through the fretboard, basically. And that's not an uncommon issue with these guitars because of the way that the plug was cut and fit in there. There was not much space. There was not much maple on top. And a lot of times, you'll see some guitars where, in just removing the nut, you can break off that top piece of maple and it'll show the plug. But this guitar actually has been planed, and it has a 9.5 inch radius on the fretboard, which actually makes it play amazing. But you do see the plug now, and a couple dots up here are missing. So it's been oversprayed and played through the overspray, as you can see. So somebody's really loved this guitar and played this guitar. So I think that's a good segue for plugging this thing in and going through the tones. The neck pickup is actually really usable, which I rarely find on a Tele. The bridge pickup sounds as good as any Telecaster I've ever heard, which is interesting because there's plenty of snake oil on the fact that the bridge pickup has to be in that bridge plate to give it the Tele sound. And I guarantee you, this thing sounds every bit as Tele as I've ever heard. So let's go ahead, plug this thing in. I'll do the best I can with it. If you want to stick around, we can go over a few more details and what's to come with this guitar. So let's check it out. So I forgot to mention where I bought this guitar. It popped up on Reverb last week, and I do buy stuff on Reverb. I buy on eBay sometimes, occasionally. I also buy a lot of stuff local, and just through friends and forums and digging around. You got to reach out and talk to people a lot of times. But this one just popped up for sale. It came from California, and allegedly it belonged to an old session player there. I really don't have much other history on it. I may look into trying to get some history on the guitar. But I want to thank you guys for watching today. And if you would, drop a comment and let me know your thoughts on the tone and the sound of this guitar, and also your expertise as to what you think we're dealing with here, what vintage parts, and maybe if you can date the neck or the body. Go ahead and drop a comment, because in the next few days, like I said, I'm going to take it apart, and we can try to authenticate what we can and date the different components. And I have an idea for this neck. So everything wrong with it I can pretty much fix myself. I'm going to put some new dots down here. I'm going to refret it, get a period correct logo for it, and get this thing playing, because I really like this neck, and I think with the flatter radius this thing plays a lot better. But also it's kind of a thin neck, as you can see here, and so I'm gonna measure it too, so you guys can get an idea exactly as to what the neck shape is. But if this is indeed a early Strat neck, this is a lot thinner than I think what people think early Stratocasters might feel like. The 57 that I have is a really deep V-neck, and it's really killer for playing a certain way. But if you want to play, high intensity kind of lead stuff and bending stuff, I think I might want something a little bit thinner. So I'm definitely going to keep this neck and do some work to it and get the most out of it. So all of that's to come. If you enjoyed this video, like I said, drop a like, drop a comment. You can check out some of my other vintage guitar videos, from restoration to authentication to, of course, playing them and hearing the different tones. This is what I love doing, and it's really become a hobby of mine, and it is second to playing music, though. I need to make that distinction. So thank you guys for being here and watching today. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.